morning, YouTube. It's your girl, Miss Honey. Welcome back to the channel, you guys. It is your girl, Miss Honey, here with the new devotionals, July 7th. It's overcast here in Georgia. I've got a stuffy nose because I haven't figured my air conditioning out yet. What's too much air conditioning? What's not enough air conditioning? Only my sinus passages know. Anywho, today we're going to be talking about the weight of grace. Going to be coming out of Genesis 4:13 through 15. Morning version of Genesis is the N, R as in Ralph, S as in Sam, V as in Victory version, the NRSV version. Evening version of Genesis 4:13 through 15 is coming from the New Living Translation, the NLT version. And the weight of grace, man, that's going to be heavy, right? It's going to be heavy. I feel like it is. I have a love-hate relationship with Genesis because as a child, for me, Genesis starts out so magical. It's like the most beautiful, I won't say fairy tale, but the most wonderful story. I can picture, that story tale when you come into an animated story, the birds are chirping and I can't do the sound of the morning. You guys know what I'm talking about. That's how as a child, I came into Genesis. And that's Genesis 1. By Genesis 6, God was so fed up with the wickedness of people. Like, just 5 chapters down, he's sending floods, baby. I was like, Lord, any day now, we're going to get it. Oh, boy. That was before I understood that a day for us is like 1,000 years for God. But I digress. Listen, let's talk about the weight of grace. Genesis 4, verses 13 through 15 reads, Cain said to the Lord, "My punishment is greater than I can bear. Today you have driven me away from the soil, and I shall be hidden from your face. I shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on earth, and anyone who meets me may kill me." When the Lord said to him, "Not so. Whoever kills Cain will suffer a 7-fold vengeance." And the Lord put a mark on Cain so that no one who came upon him would kill him. The text says, when the news flashes the story of a man who killed another man in cold blood, our hearts rise up within us. We become angry. We become plagued by the injustice of what we are hearing. We wait to hear the punishment. What if the judge laid down his gavel and announced that the murderer would not be condemned? Rather, he would be protected by the court. He would be given some consequence and then be set free under the protection of the government. That wouldn't seem quite fair, would it? Our God has always been gracious. The prayer for this morning is, Lord, I don't understand your grace, especially in circumstances like this. But it helps me to understand that there are no limit. There is no limit to your love. Thank you for this love. That's the thing about grace. Grace is unmerited favor. That's the thing about grace, right? And equally in 2021, that's the thing about what we consider to be swift justice, or justice at all. Now, it doesn't even have to be swift, but justice at all. The thing of it is that we are all, as individuals, beneficiaries of grace. We all are. We all have been forgiven. We all have received the unmerited favor of God. We all have been in situations where others have not come out alive. We've all done things, okay, that we should not have done. And although man thinks of degrees of sin or crime or egregiousness, for God, all sin is the same, right? So we've all received or been beneficiary of his grace. But it is the notion that the sin that you have done is way more egregious than my sin, and therefore you should be smoted, you know what I'm saying, turned to a pillar of salt, struck dead, you know, whatever our vengeful minds can come up with for a right now justice, right? But grace has been extended to us all. And so a lot of times that which you plot for others soon becomes your demise, or that you wish for others will become your demise, and so on and so forth. It's not our place to decide who gets grace. It is not our place to decide when and where and how a person is to be punished. It is a very difficult thing to wrap your mind around, especially when you see the wickedness of this world. I just spoke about how Genesis, which is the first book of the Bible, begins, and then 5 chapters later, in chapter 6, we see grace being given to Noah. Right? The drunkard. Because he's the one that God was going to use when he flooded the entire land. Okay? We cannot always understand why God does what he does. We try to wrap our minds around it. We try to live long enough to where we can see it, we can hear it. We ask for an impartation, some idea of what you're doing and how you're doing it, just so that we can wrap our human minds around what God is doing. But what we know for sure is that his grace and his mercy endureth forever. We do know that. We do know that he is love. Okay, we do know that. We do know that he minds his business when it comes to justice, and we are supposed to be minding ours. We do know that we are thankful that he spared us in the midst of our mess. We're grateful for that. Even though we don't understand how a person gets 22 years, really 10 or 15, because of good behavior, or I don't know, time, sir. I don't know how they do the math for white folks. But anyway, when he purposely lynched a man in the streets on national TV. All right? We just have to process it, and we have to trust God. Okay? Let's go on and read Genesis 4:13 through 15, New Living Translation for the evening, and then I'm going to let y'all go. Y'all know this is a sensitive subject for me. Even reading the beginning of the text here about the news flash and a man who killed another man in cold bloods, and our hearts rise up within us. I kept thinking the whole time I was reading that it really just depends on what color the man's skin is. But I digress. Genesis 4:13 through 15, the New Living Translation, our evening version of Genesis, reads, Cain replied to the Lord, my punishment is too great for me to bear. Oh, okay, Cain. Did you slay your own brother? Try to slay your own brother? Yes, you're the murderer. Oh, okay, that's fine. You've banished me from the land and from the presence, and from your presence. You have made me a homeless wanderer. Anyone who finds me will kill me. Got the nerve to complain. Anyway, I digress. The Lord replied, no, for I will give you a sevenfold punishment to anyone who kills you. Then the Lord put a mark on Cain, and he warned anyone who might try to kill him. It's so funny that Cain thought that the greater of his punishment is the fact that another human would kill him. How dare you leave me here with the humans? The humans, you know we can't be trusted, God. Right? I personally would have been more upset about being banished from God's presence. He's been banished. You banished me from the land and from your presence. To me, that seems like the greater of the punishments or the residuals. Huh? To me, it seems like the greater of the effects of his cause, which was a murderer. The effects, I would have been devastated. To be banished from the presence of God is, to me, a big thing. But apparently, see, things don't change. Things don't change, people. Things don't change, honeybees. I'm telling you, this human nature, this human behavior, it is more than centuries old. It is more than decades old. It is timeless. It is before time. Right? This is the nature of humans. Right? Anyway, the text says Cain offered an unacceptable sacrifice to God, murdered his innocent brother on account of jealousy, and lied about his brother's death. Though God was grieved by Cain's sin, he showed him remarkable grace. Grace in the form of an indelible mark of protection. This is the weight of grace. A grace so vast, so encompassing, that even the most dreadful murderer is covered by the love and the mercy of God. I know. It's hard to wrap your mind around it. This is just me talking here. It's hard to wrap your mind around it. But when you think about the grace and the mercy that you've been shown, doesn't seem like enough. But when you see that same grace and mercy extended to someone else, it seems like too much. Which is why we stay out of God's business. Which is why our prayer, okay, is not that the human be stopped, but the wickedness of man be stopped, be thwarted. The evil on this earth. Let me finish this out. I'm going to read that last paragraph again. This is the weight of grace, a grace so vast and so encompassing that even the most dreadful murderer is covered by the love and the mercy of God. You are covered by God's love tonight too. Let your mind rest in that wonderful revelation. The prayer for the evening is, Father, I am in awe of your love. It's greater than I can imagine and greater than I could give. Help me to draw closer to you even as I sit in your presence tonight. I'm going to read that again because that's truly my prayer. Father, I am in awe of your love. It's greater than I can imagine and greater than I could give, okay? Okay, greater than I could give, all right? I work daily. To be better, but it's greater than I could give. Help me to draw closer to you even as I sit in your presence tonight. I don't have no grace to give anybody. Right? And the reason I say that is because what I want, I must be. If I want kindness, I must be kindness. If I want forgiveness, I must be forgiveness, right? Just on a human standpoint. But I ain't got no grace to give you, okay? It's beyond my concept. I get it. I understand it. But honey, Miss Honey, don't got it. She don't got it to give a lot of humans. Okay? God is still working on me when it comes to this. Of course, I also don't have no heaven nor no hell to put you in. So it all balances out, I guess. The question for ourselves today is, what have you done that you feel is unforgivable? Remember this story and remember God's commitment to you. I think my challenge, and you guys correct me down below, I think my challenge lies in what I talked about, what we consider to be more egregious offenses. The crimes against children, the woundings of their bodies, their spirits. Okay? The crimes against the elderly, the poor, the infirm, the indigent. The crimes against skin color, religion, what side of the street you were born on. It just depends on where you live, right? But when I think about his grace, I think to myself, I've never personally ever been attacked. I've never personally ever been called out of my name, right? God's grace and his mercy is extended to a lot of us. What we see happening in and around us is a very small part of a larger, much, much larger picture. And that is why I'm a proponent of standing back. It is what it is. We saw what we saw, but stand back and see what God's will is in a situation. See why he's extending grace. See why he's extending mercy. No man can know. No man can know what God is doing, which is why we mind our business. We stay in our lane. We receive our grace. Oh, we continue to act in love and kindness towards one another. And we trust that God's will is perfect. We trust that there has a greater plan. We trust that. And we know that my mama and them used to say, you might get by, but you don't get away. The song says, God has a purpose. Yes, God has a plan. What do you do? That's where that came from. When you've done all you can, seems like it's never enough. Yes, God has a purpose. God has a plan, right? Amen? Amen. My prayer for you today is that you take stock. I know we took stock yesterday, but we're going to take stock again today. It's important. It's important so that we don't begin to point fingers, even though I think it's a hard thing to overcome. But I think it starts when we take stock. My prayer is that you will take stock of the grace that you have been shown, the mercy that you have been shown. And then just think about the unfathomable. That's for your human mind. It is unfathomable. Some of the things, as a human, to look at some of the things that God does. He truly is balanced and fair. It doesn't seem like it. Right? It doesn't seem like it. But God doesn't pick sides. He picks intent. Right? He looks at the intent of a thing and the spirit of a thing. That doesn't have skin color. Right? Doesn't have skin color. So that's my prayer, as you take stock of the grace that you've been shown. And then begin to try and wrap your mind around that which is unfathomable. The fact that we are not in control, that God is, and that his will for us is yes and amen. Okay? And that he has a purpose and a plan. Okay? And even though we may not see it with our own eyes, nobody gets away. They just get by. Right? They just get by. It's my contention that Cain was punished beyond measure, beyond leaving this earth. Ending his life would have been mercy. Right? For a man to be banished from the presence of the Lord and from his land and left to wander, and nobody take him out of his misery. Come on now. This is what I'm talking about when I say think about that which is unfathomable. Really, when you look at it, he was severely punished. And then his punishment was set in perpetuity. In perpetuity. Okay? Going forward, this is your life. This is the weight of the thing that you've done. You've got to carry it. Oh, now I'm going too far. I'm going too far. I'm supposed to be letting y'all go. I done gave y'all the prayer. Listen, I love y'all with the love of the Lord. See, sometimes we come full circle with ourselves. I told you guys before, this is not just your devotional. This is my devotional. God is stretching out in me and in my life, okay? In my choices, in my thought processes as well. And we come full circle, right? We come from a place of bewilderment here, just trying to wrap our mind around it, confusion, thinking of things aren't fair. And by the time we get here in the evening, we've come full circle on this thing. And we realize that what I consider to be a punishment, God may consider to be the easy way out. Come on. Come on. Come on now. Are you there? The greater punishment is to sit and to stew in the misery day in and day out of what you've done. Let me mind my business. God got this, okay? I love y'all with the love of the Lord, okay? And that's that on that. That's that on that, okay? Until next time, honeybees.